It is Ryan Seacrest here. There was a recent social media trend which consisted of flying on a plane with no music, no movies, no entertainment. But a better trend would be going to ChumbaCasino.com. It's like having a mini social casino in your pocket. Chumba Casino has over 100 online casino-style games, all absolutely free. It's the most fun you can have online and on a plane. So grab your free welcome bonus now at ChumbaCasino.com. Sponsored by Chumba Casino.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 21 plus. Terms and conditions apply.
3, 2, 1.
This podcast contains content that may be disturbing for some listeners and is intended for a mature audience. Listener discretion is advised.
Welcome to Unusual Curiosity. I'm Tracy.
I'm Heather.
And I'm Taylor.
Today we have some very interesting stories for you. Everybody poops, guys. Did you know that?
Yep.
But sometimes not normal. Like this dude. The story of a man known only as JW. In the 1880s, Philadelphia freak show performer named the Balloon Man, JW suffered from Hirschsprung's disease, an illness he suffered his entire life. Hirschsprung's disease is caused by the failure of nerve fibers to develop in the smooth wall muscles of the colon, essentially stopping peristalsis and causing severe obstruction and constipation, giving him the appearance of a very large balloon midsection.
Okay, what is peristalsis?
It's the movement of your digestive system that keeps everything moving in the right direction.
Okay.
It's like an automatic spasm, I guess if you want to call it, that just constantly moves everything down.
It moves the poop down.
Moves the poop down. It actually starts in your esophagus, I think, and it like goes all the way through your entire digestive system. It was reported that by the time he was 16, he could go for a month without a bowel movement.
Oh, dude, that's painful.
I know. Can you imagine?
That would
Oh my
suck.
The dude must have lived in absolute agony.
At 16?
Yep. So he started with the freak show at the age of 20, probably because he couldn't do anything else. And he died at the age of 29. He was found deceased in the bathroom attempting to go.
Oh.
What was his act in the freak show?
He was the balloon man. He just showed up
just
and
because
stood around because he looked different.
Yeah.
So his stomach was just super distended?
Yeah. You can find pictures of him on the internet.
That's sad.
It's super sad. Yeah. But that's not really the worst part of it. At the time of his death, his colon was 28 inches at its widest point. That's huge.
That's
like,
just over 2 foot.
Yeah. Like
2 feet?
Take 2 rulers and then add 4 inches.
Oof.
Craziness.
Okay, I'm sorry. The first thought that comes into my head is, what's the biggest poop he's ever taken?
Good question.
Working in healthcare, I've seen some monsters, to say the least. So I'm like, for someone that was backed up for a month, I can't, his poor booty hole.
I can't imagine. The poor guy must have been just miserable.
Oh my gosh.
So his colon was 28 inches and it contained 40 pounds of feces.
Oh my. Ooh, 40 pounds?
I know. His colon is actually preserved, stuffed with straw and fabric, and is on display at the Mutter Museum at the College of Physicians in Philadelphia.
Looks like we're going to Philadelphia.
I know, road trip. I want to see that colon.
How long? I'm sorry. How long has it been since he's died?
He in the 1880s.
And they've preserved his colon this long?
Yeah, because it's such an anomaly. Normally, I mean, it was probably even more rare back then, but it occurs in about 1 in 5,000 births. It's more common amongst males. And today, children are usually diagnosed in infancy and undergo a surgical procedure to remove the affected part of the colon and usually go on to live a normal life. But back then, nobody really knew what it was. And there was no treatment for it. So he just had to live with it. And what a miserable life he probably had because of it.
Yeah. Did he have a family?
I don't know. Yeah, there's very little known. I mean, obviously, I don't even know his name. His name was JW.
Oh.
I'm assuming records weren't very well kept for freak show performers. A lot of them probably didn't even have families that wanted anything to do with them or could take care of them. If they had medical problems, I mean, they probably couldn't even afford to take care of them. And the alternative would have probably been going to live on a in what they called like a farm home or an asylum or something, you know. So freak show was probably how he made enough to survive.
How sad.
Yeah, super sad. The next story is even more shocking. Edward Beaupre was born January 9th, 1881 in Willow Bunch, Saskatchewan, Canada, the oldest of 20 children. He grew into one of the tallest men in the world. Dubbed the Willow Bunch Giant, Edward was born seemingly normal, but by the age 3, he started growing at an alarming rate. He was 6 foot by age 9, 7 foot by age 17, and by the age 23, he was 8 foot 2.5 inches.
Wow. Did he play basketball?
Imagine what you could see.
Was basketball a thing in the 1880s?
No clue, but he would have been like the number one player.
Maybe. Edward was noted for being intelligent, kind, and introverted. He was multilingual, fluent in French, English, Cree, and Sioux. He dreamed of being a cowboy, but his size hindered him from riding horses since his feet hit the ground even on the tallest horse, and his 396 pounds was too strenuous for horses to carry around.
I want to be a cowboy, baby.
Wow, that's a tall guy.
He was really tall.
Oh my goodness. So were his siblings just as tall, or was he just the
No,
one off?
He was an anomaly. Turns out later on in the story, but he had a tumor on his pituitary gland that they didn't know back then, you know.
Yeah.
So to help the financial situation of his family, obviously the 20 kids, right? It's a lot. Very expensive endeavor. He decided to exploit his physical attributes. At 17, he joined the circus as a freak show performer. His skill was lifting an 800-pound horse around his shoulders. So he would literally bend over, like get under the horse and wrap the legs around and stand up.
An
Damn.
800-pound horse.
800-pound horse.
He must have been pretty freaking strong.
Yeah. I mean, that's twice his weight.
Yeah.
I can't even
Crazy.
bench like a quarter.
Dude, he had
Weight.
he had buns of steel probably.
Whoa. Yeah, with as many like,
Squatting horses.
yeah.
Yeah.
Everything was challenging for him, from traveling, sleeping in his bed, and eating enough to maintain his size and strength. Unfortunately, Edward contracted tuberculosis and was advised by his doctors and his family to come home. He insisted on continuing to provide for his family as long as possible and carried on with the circus. His size and illness took a toll on his body, and he got severely ill while performing with the Barnum and Bailey Circus at the St. Louis World's Fair. He passed away at the age of 23 from a pulmonary hemorrhage. He was still growing at the time, so nobody knows how big he would have gotten.
He literally died at my age right now.
He did, yeah.
That's so
Wow.
It's very sad. I guess pulmonary hemorrhage is a common way for people that have tuberculosis to die.
How awful.
Yeah.
I mean, TB is awful in itself, but
It is.
to add anything on top of that, like,
Yeah. His agent had his body embalmed, but the circus would not pay to ship his body home to his family.
Wow.
Typical corporation.
I was gonna say, yeah, that is like you die, we'll just replace you tomorrow.
Right. We're not shipping your body home either, so whatever. His agent put his body on display and charged admission to attempt to recoup the embalming expenses.
Wow.
His poor family.
I know. How shitty is that?
I'd be so mad.
Well, if this is the 1800s too, wonder how long it took them to know, like to.
Yeah. Weeks?
Yeah, it's not
And-
like they got on the internet and saw an article about
Right.
like the world's tallest man.
Dead.
Yeah.
From St. Louis to Saskatchewan, Canada.
Extra charges for probably crossing the border too.
what?
Tariffs.
I said, I said extra charges for crossing the border too.
Charge tariff on your body.
Oh my gosh, do they?
I don't think so.
Dude. That'd be
not.
awful.
Oh my god.
You never. People are greedy, man. You never know.
You can have your husband or your grandfather or your mother for an extra $200.
Just keep them. Just keep them.
It's not worth it. They're dead anyway. They won't know.
Oh my gosh.
So it's sad. His family tried to recover his body and bring him home for burial, but they never had enough money to make it happen.
Oh.
They eventually assumed that his body was lost or buried in St. Louis.
That actually makes me really sad. I'm not going to lie.
That is really
it gets
sad.
worse.
Oh my gosh.
Grab
Yeah.
the Kleenexes.
The truth is far more nefarious. Eventually, a wealthy resident of Willow Bunch, Pascal Bonneau Jr., traveled to St. Louis to settle Edward's affairs. So apparently he knew the family and knew they were upset about losing their son and not having him back, so he offered to go and recover his body.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
Shady.
when he got to St. Louis, he found his body on display in storefront windows as part of promotional campaigns.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, nothing markets items better than a dead freaking body.
an 8'2" dead body.
Okay, but imagine if that happened today. I feel like there'd
It
be...
wouldn't happen today.
No, but just imagine if it did.
It would be so
Like
weird.
walking down the sidewalk, it's never a mannequin.
Buy,
Oh my gosh.
buy this deodorant. Here's a dead body.
Yeah.
I mean, did they put T-shirts on it?
I was just
what are they
thinking
selling?
that.
What kind of promotion do you do with that?
I was just thinking they probably actually used him as a... Well, maybe he's so big. Would clothes actually fit him?
I don't
He
know.
probably had to have his clothes specially made. But my question
It
is...
was his feet.
Yeah. How long does embalming last?
Apparently a long time. Yeah, I don't know, but apparently a long time because Banu was able to secure Edward and brought his body home to Montreal, which is a little way from where he lived in Willow Bunch. But Edward ended up on display in the Eden Museum and then the Montreal Circus. Full circle.
And guess I guarantee you the money that he was making dead wasn't going back to his family.
Oh, no, definitely not, because his family had no idea where he was. When the circus went bankrupt, they sent his body to storage, and later in 1907, he was found by some children, but his body was claimed by the University of Montreal, where they determined that his enormous size was caused by a tumor on his pituitary gland. So he apparently had done some autopsy type work on him, even though he was embalmed, but they ended up mummifying his body and putting him on display in a glass case.
Oh my gosh.
There's so much to the story. Just when I think it can't get worse,
This
it
poor
does.
guy cannot rest in friggin' peace, right?
Oh my gosh.
How awful. In 1967, an article was written about him in the Canadian Medical Association Journal that drew the attention of his niece.
Oh my gosh.
Until that time, his family did not know his whereabouts.
All that
That
time.
whole-
All that time.
time.
So from 1904, 1907, they did not know where he was until his niece ran across it in 1967.
That's 60 years.
But that doesn't end the story. It wasn't until 1990 that he was finally released from the university, cremated, and laid to rest with a proper memorial service.
So,
Another 30 years on top of that.
Yeah. It was like 83 years.
why? That's my question. Like,
Because he was such an anomaly that people were like, I gotta see it. I gotta know what happened to this dude. Why did this happen?
so
Yeah.
because he was an anomaly, it was okay to treat him like he wasn't a human being.
Hence freak shows. These poor people that had these medical anomalies that nobody knew how to treat or even knew what they were back in the 1800s, who couldn't take care of themselves. Their family either didn't want them or could afford to take care of them. They went to the circus because that's how they could afford to eat and live. And they exploited their own medical catastrophes, basically, in the circus because people would pay to go see it.
That's so sad.
It is sad. And I mean, if you're doing it out of choice, like, hey, I have this crazy thing that nobody else has, like the diphallic guy, if I can even say that.
Vestigial tail.
Yeah.
Ugh.
I don't know. But yeah, if that's something that he chose to do or anybody else chose to do, that's different. But I mean,
Doing it because you have to.
I don't think any of these people would have chosen to do that because who wants to know that something's wrong with them or they're different from everybody else and stand up in front of people and say, look at me.
And get
Yeah.
made fun of.
Essentially, yeah, pay me a penny and look at me, you know? Their mental
Yeah.
health state must have been really bad, I would assume.
There's
Yeah, you're
such a
right.
It's just a sad state of affairs, but it says a lot about humanity, right? Because even in the tragedy of his death, people were still willing to exploit him to make money.
Yeah, like you said, after the dude's dead
Yeah.
for another 80-something years.
This is why I like dogs and not people.
how
Amen.
that guy that was from the same place as his family, did he ever get in trouble for not returning him? Or
I don't know, because obviously 1907 rolled around. His parents might have been gone. I don't know. He had a lot of brothers and sisters. But things were different back then, too, because the world wasn't as connected as it is now. You
True.
can't pick up a phone and call somebody. I don't know. They probably could have, but I'm assuming his family lived in a very rural area and did not have a phone, probably didn't hear much from him or vice versa. So
It was
yeah.
all kind of speculation at that point because, like you said, you didn't have instant communication.
No. Obviously Edward, and we don't know much about JW as a person, but Edward had dreams and hopes and he was very smart. If you're multilingual, you got to have a brain in your head, I would think.
Wow. Yeah.
I just know it's really sad. Like, it's really heartbreaking that other people would treat people like that.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't want to think people would do that today, but there's people out there that would do that today.
There's some mean people out there.
Yeah.
And you don't even have to have something wrong with you.
No, you don't.
You could just look different. In a way that came out wrong because
not normal.
those people do look different. But I'm just saying, like, you could be skinnier, you could be fatter, or not have as much muscle. There's those things that people make fun of for, or you have a bad hair day, or whatever.
Well, I think about the freak show performers, that was really like their last hope to make a living, or maybe they felt like it was their last hope to make a living. There's still people that do that to themselves today. TikTok. Or,
The lady with the front butt. You know who I'm talking about? She wears those leggings and she puts the teeth in.
Yeah.
She's putting herself out there to get made fun of.
Some people do like to make fun of themselves, I guess. The lady with the front butt.
I think it's the money.
It's gotta be.
I think it's the money because, I don't know, I wouldn't even make fun of myself for money because it's just not worth it to me. But I really think it is. They see how much money they can make off making fun of themselves.
And people watch it.
Clickbait.
Yeah, that's how they make their money. So people that watch it are just as bad as the people that put their stuff out there.
Honestly, if she ever pops up on my For You page, rarely in a very long time, but I don't give it enough attention. I don't want to see that. I don't want to watch her shake her front butt and put it in those fake fugly teeth.
What is it with all the people with weird, no teeth? I see that all the time. Like, you're watching, makeup videos and stuff.
Uh-huh.
All these women that don't have teeth. What happened?
Kids in the 90s weren't told how to brush their teeth.
Apparently not.
Dentures.
Kidding. I'm a 90s kid.
Whoa.
Late 90s, but I'm a 90s kid, and I still brush my teeth.
Chompers.
Don't bust those things out over there. It's probably what happened to those women on TikTok.
Oh my gosh.
That's meth.
Oh my gosh.
It's kind of coming full circle how it's like, how do people make fun of other people? And then here we are, people with dentures.
Only
Yeah, but they did it to their damn
they're
self.
putting themselves out there to be made fun of. So
we're low key
Here's what I'm
awful.
saying. These two men did not ask for this.
No.
If you do meth and you lose your teeth, that's your own damn fault. And I'm sure
oh my
No,
gosh.
I'm not. I'm not gonna laugh at you. I'm
We just
actually a
did.
really nice person. My dogs tell me that.
It's just what they should just go home and talk shit about you to our dogs.
You give them food. That's the motivation.
Oh my god, are you saying my dogs don't really love me?
No.
They just love the snacks.
My dogs
Scooter's
definitely love
definitely
snacks.
snack motivated.
Scooter is so snack driven.
Give me the snack.
Yeah, I can say snacks, treats, pup cups,
Cookies.
shake the box, cookies, whatever. He
Yep.
is like, where and when?
He's probably at the gate right now saying someone should fucking snacks. Where are they at?
Probably.
Oh my gosh.
Thanks for joining us at Unusual Curiosity, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.
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 Looking for excitement? Chumba Casino is here. Play anytime, play anywhere. Play on the train, play at the store, play at home, play when you're bored. Play today for your chance to win and get daily bonuses when you log in. So what are you waiting for? Don't delay. Chumba Casino is free to play.
Experience social gameplay like never before. Go to Chumba Casino right now to play hundreds of games, including online slots, bingo, Slingo, and more. Live the Chumba life at ChumbaCasino.com.